I'm focusing today specifically on the area of gambling counselling, and would like to introduce you to one of our gambling counsellors at Wesley Mission, Diane Flack. Diane is a member of the Wesley Mission Team working on the south coast of New South Wales and in other places too. Welcome, Diane. It's good to talk to you.
Pleasure to be
How
here.
long have you been with us?
2 years.
2 years. But you were doing that before with another agency, so you've been doing it 5 years or in total? 5 years with the two or just one?
2 with Wesley, 1 with the other. That's right.
So it's 3 years, so you've become very familiar with it. How do you describe to people? Somebody, they sit around and say, what do you do for a living? How do you describe what you do?
I help people have a full and happy life because that's my goal. That's what I want. And gambling is not part of that. Yeah. It sucks the life out of people, you know, and it breaks my heart when they come in and it affects their families, it affects their jobs. I mean, I've had clients who have gone to jail for their gambling. That's not okay.
No. And I know that you love Wollongong on the south coast, but the work that we do stretches right along the coast. How many people do you see in an ordinary day?
So in my Sutherland office, I could see anywhere between 4 to 6 clients a day.
Yeah.
So it's quite an extensive problem. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here today, is to let people know that there's help out there. You know, don't suffer alone. A lot of my clients will say, oh, I try and give up on my own. And I often say, well, life is so tough. Doesn't it help to have extra support? You know, and all the counsellors in our team are really supportive. And we're great to talk to.
So all these counsellors that you have working with us together in a team, you're generally dealing with men in their 50s, is that right?
It ranges from all ages. I've got young clients, retired clients, and I think that's the biggest issue, is a lot of people get super funds or inheritance or job payouts.
And women?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because a lot of people are lonely. So they'll often go to the clubs to relieve themselves of their loneliness.
Yes.
And it's just sad. You know, life is so wonderful out there.
So you're sitting talking about what you do, and somebody says to you then, what's the cause of all this gambling? Is there a root cause that we can identify?
Majority of the people who come and see me have won money at some point. And that's what sort of gets them addicted, and it changes their thought processes. They believe that they can win, but I often tell them that there's very little chance of winning.
And then there's the winning back when you do lose, isn't there? You know, I'm going to win it back, you know.
Well, that's an indication that someone might have a gambling issue if they're trying to chase the money they've lost. You know, and one of the things that an indicator is if they're chasing. So if you find yourself chasing money that you've lost, that's an indication you could have a problem.
Do people want to overcome the gambling problem when they come to see you?
Absolutely. By the time they come to see me, they're usually in crisis, and they're so desperate to stop because their partner's about to leave them, their children won't speak to them, they're heavily in debt, and it's just really sad. And they're emotionally and physically harmed as well, because they're almost broken people, you know, and it's my role to sort of pick them back up and teach them new ways of coping with stress.
Diane, can you really offer them hope?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, life is full of stress and we all have ways of coping with it. And if I show them different ways to coping, then they're not going to be turned to the poker machines or gambling.
I remember somebody writing to me from prison who watches the programme regularly, who ended up in prison after gambling, losing family and everybody.
They've lost their freedom.
But it is possible to restart your life, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Stay with you in a moment or two, because I want to talk to you a little bit further. But I suppose you've shared with us it could be anybody. Yeah. It could be any age. Yeah. What's the most common form of gambling? Poker
machines. I think it's the most damaging because you can spend so much money so quickly. But horse bet's also an issue, and sports bets as well.
And in the area of sports bets, you've touched on something in that it can be not only gambling on the result of the match, it can be when is the first corner, when is the first kick, is somebody gets sent off, in what minutes would they be sent off? This is the wrong word, but more sophisticated and complicated, doesn't it?
I think it becomes intrusive into the game. You know, you're not watching a game anymore, you're gambling. which I think is sad because people like to watch football.
But you've got good stories of people who have been changed.
Absolutely, I do. Yes.
And when they're changed, do they stay changed? Do they go back to gambling?
Most of the time they stay. Gambling is a part of their past. And if they do go back to gambling, usually they realise, oh, this is not something that I want to do.
If somebody is struggling with gambling, and many do, or suspects a loved one is struggling, what are some of the signs that they can look out for?
If you're worried that someone might have a gambling issue, it could be they're chasing losses. So that means they're spending more money than they intend to get back what they've lost. But if a family member's worried, often they're distracted, money's missing, they never have any money, so that can be an indication. But if you yourself have a gambling issue, if you're consumed by gambling, don't do it. Don't suffer alone. Come and see us. You know, we're a friendly service, and we're happy to talk to you about it.
So if somebody's listening in on this conversation and it struck a chord with them, you know, what it is that we're talking about, what advice have you got to do? What should they do?
Please don't wait until you're at crisis. Don't wait until your bank balance says zero. You know, don't wait until your partner's about to leave you. Come and get help. A lot of my clients will say, I'll try and do this on my own. And I often tell them, life is so tough. If you can get extra support and I can give you tips and ideas along the way, why not reach out and ask for help? You know, there's no judgment, there's no stigma. You know, we're here to help you. That's my role, to make your life better.
Well, thanks very much for sharing your story, your expertise with us today, Diane. God bless you in the work that you do.